just finished recording my Mental Health Monday, and you would not believe that it was a corrupted file. I'm not tired of these damn things, okay? I stopped using the other one, and here I am now. But whatever. I just wanted to say about two different subjects. For Mental Health Monday, I want you guys to celebrate your wins, your joy, because we spend a lot of time focusing on negative things that are going wrong in our lives and not enough time celebrating our wins. So I want to make sure that we're out here celebrating our wins. Like today, I became a Texas resident after 2 years. They let me buy a house. They let me do numerous things, but for some reason, DPS rejected me. Tell me how I bought a house though, with all my information mixed up. Birth certificate, father's last name, marriage license, husband's last name, and social security, my mother's maiden name. So I was all screwed up, okay? But a bitch got a name change and she's back in the building. So hello, new me and old me at the same time. So I want to celebrate that win. And my dad's birthday brings me great juju all the time, okay? Last year I got my name changed on his birthday, and he had told me, he's like, yo, I had a fucked up birthday. And then I told him, and then he sounded so happy when I told him. And that kind of leads me into the next situation about Father's Day. So I hope that everyone had a wonderful Father's Day, and I hope that you guys celebrated all the kings in your life, because they often go under celebrated. So I know, make sure that you are celebrating them and they had a wonderful day. Unfortunately, we worked here, so that's what we did. But it was also my dad's birthday, which made me sad, okay? Because that's my ride or die, you know, that's my person right there. And I wanted to tell you guys a little story about my dad. So, I don't know if you guys realize or know, I did a video on my bio, but my dad is my dad. So he came into my life when I was 6 years old. He worked really, really hard to develop the relationship that we have today. And even he acknowledges that we have like a very different relationship than, I thought he was looking himself, him and my siblings. So when there was a time when I was filling out paperwork and they asked, you know how they ask for both parents' medical history, and so I was asking my mom all the questions. My dad was downstairs. We were all in the kitchen area. I was sitting at like the bar area or whatever you call it, and they were standing in the kitchen. I was like, hey mom, can you help me fill this out, because I don't know everybody's medical history. And they wanted to go back to my grandparents. Excuse me. And as far as I was concerned, they were superheroes and never had anything wrong with them. So she starts reading me off all their medical history, and I'm gonna leave the other part blank, and it's my intention, because I didn't know anything about my bio dad. So my dad's like, hey, you didn't ask me. And I was like, sorry, you know, like kind of thrown off guard, like, that's okay. And he starts listing like everything that's in his family on his grandparents' side and stuff like that. And I just write it down. I'm writing everything down, and you know, it strikes me at that moment like, yo, he forgot that we're not genetically linked. And it was a beautiful moment for me, and I always think back to that moment, because that was the moment that I really realized that there was no distinction between me and my sisters to him, that we were the same. We were all his kids. And mind you, he told me early on, we don't say step, we don't say stepsister, we don't say half sister, we don't say, I never said those things. I've never, you know, people distinguish like that. Oh, that's your step, that's your half. We've never done that. That's my sister, that's my dad, you know what I mean? He never introduced me as his stepchild ever. It's always, that's my daughter. And that moment made me realize how serious he was about that, how serious now this was a 20-year-old man that came in and stepped up and became a parent to a 6-year-old. or 21 into a 6-year-old. So he stepped up to the plate and took on this ginormous role at such a young age. And I have a cousin that did the same thing. I think he was actually younger. I think he was in his late teens at that time. But those are the type of men that deserve a lot of recognition in my eyes. Like the ones that step up when the others step out. And mind you, I had no relationship with my father at all. So there were times that my father would call, the 3 to 4 times he called in my lifetime before we started developing our relationship, and you would see the seething, burning hate that my dad had whenever he called. He would be like hovering over me while I'm talking to him, and I was already uncomfortable talking to him, but my mom would give me the phone to talk to him, and I would try my best to sound normal, but I was uncomfortable because I always had this feeling of betrayal. And when I did link up and start talking to my bio, I told my dad, and I felt guilty. And he's like, why do you need to talk to him? What do you need to talk to him about? And there were questions about his medical history that I did need, and I wanted to know because, hello, like, I need to know what to look out for, and apparently it was every fucking thing. So I would much rather have my dad's situation than this one that I'm in. So yeah, I just felt like completely loved. He always looked out for me in a way that I felt protected and loved, you know what I mean? And it's just an amazing feeling to know somebody that doesn't have that link to you has that link to you. And when I realized that he forgot, it sat in my head, and I was like, Mom, do you realize what happened? And she was like, what? She didn't even pick up on it. And I think it was just a big moment to me, you know? And I'm like, do you realize what happened? And she's like, what? And I'm like, did you see how he just gave me all his information? And I guess maybe it slipped her mind at that moment too, but it was just a beautiful moment to me because I spent a lot of time feeling like I was on the outside, just knowing that I wasn't really his. And he never made me feel that way, but it was just knowing, you know what I mean? Like, if I could swap DNA, if I could do all that, I would. But then in that moment, I realized I didn't need to. He loved me just the same without all that. So when I can't be there for him, I feel like really upset and really sad. But I just wanted to acknowledge a great black man out there that took on a responsibility that wasn't his, that's been in my life since he came in my life, okay? So shout out to men like that, because to me that's an amazing thing. And shout out to the men doing the right thing, and to anybody out there that lost a parent, that never had their parent, sending you a hug. I love you. I know what it is, okay? So I lost my grandpa, and he was like my dad. He actually was like a community dad for all me and my cousins. And he stepped up when people stepped out, and he was my dad. And he was very protective over me, very. He saved me from quite a few ass beatings, let me tell you. My grandmother was like my mom, and they mean still to this day a lot to me. That's why I want to create an altar in their honor, because they mean so much to me, and I want to always honor my ancestors. And from the beginning of my life until the end of theirs, they always looked out for me, and I always appreciate that, because I felt so alone in life for a long time, and they were the only compass I had. And like I told Kevin today, the world doesn't know what happened when my grandparents died. Like, they don't know that my whole compass was thrown off. So now, like, people feel my wrath, because they were the ones keeping me on track. They kept me with my morals in line and in check, and now this how all this is happening is because they're not here to keep me aligned. So the worst thing that could have happened to the world was me losing my grandparents, honestly, because then I didn't really give a fuck about much else other than my family. And even some of my family, I was like, phew. So So it just be that way sometimes. But honestly, like, I have amazing people in my family that have always allowed me to be who I am, love me for who I am. And even though I've always been the black or white sheep, how do you say it when you're black? You're the white sheep when you're black? I don't know. So I've always been a different sheep. And my dad always allowed me to be that different person. I've always been so different from my family. Like, they were into like things that were not reality, and I've always been into reality. I've always read books based on reality. His dad's home, he's losing it. But he always loved me for who I am. He still loves me for who I am, and he looks out for me in a way that I will always know what it feels like to have his love. And I hope everyone who didn't get to experience that gets to experience that some way or another, whether it's someone else in your family, an uncle, a brother that looks out for you, a grandfather that takes care of you. Your dad's gonna be here in a minute, hold on. House ain't that big now. He'll be like, he's losing it. So I hope that you get the opportunity to feel that type of love, because it is something really special. I've experienced some sort of joy today, some sort of love today, some sort of happiness today. I hope you got a big hearty laugh at some point of the day. Somebody made you laugh. I hope that you got somebody that hugged on you, someone that told you you're beautiful, you're handsome. And if not, then yo, you're beautiful, you're handsome. And in case nobody told you, I love you. I hope you had a wonderful day, and don't fixate on everything that's always going on around you, because there's always negativity going on around us. And while we're in this fight for equality and justice, I want you to take care of yourself, and doing that means taking care of your mental health, loving on yourself, and making sure that you're okay, because there's going to be a lot of days, and this is, like I said in other videos, it's a lot of days you're not going to feel good. It's a lot of days you're not going to you're not going to be happy, because I go in and out of these moods of like, I'm good and then I'm not, and then I'm good and then I'm not, and I spend a lot more time not than being good. So a lot of it, I feel like it has to do with my diet now too. Like, I feel crappy because of how I'm eating, and I haven't been on a walk in 2 days, and I can feel all these things. But make sure you get out, get you some vitamin D. Don't just stay locked up in your house all day. If you don't feel comfortable, take your mask with you and just get out there and get it for an hour if you can stand it, and or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, as long as you get out there, get some kind of natural vitamin D. And if you can't get out there, you know, get you a plant that you can watch grow and blossom, something that represents life that you can see developing and growing. So just do something that brings you joy and brings you peace and brings you happiness and brings you love and light. Just make sure you make that a part of every day, because we're walking on a tightrope every single day, and we definitely have to keep ourselves in line, because it's a long road ahead of us. Equality is probably something I'm not going to see in my lifetime. You know, I just come to grips with that. But look, he went through racism, okay? Went through racism, same time period, right? Racism, okay? The genocides, racism. Really happy point yesterday, because this girl was out there, okay? Racism now, you know. It's gonna take a while before we get what we deserve, but at the same time, we're resilient people, we're strong people, we are strong. So don't let it fool you. Joy is a way to celebrate how strong we are. Joy is a way to show the people that you haven't broke us. Joy is a way that shows everyone that it's not the end for us. We're resilient. We weren't supposed to be here. We're here. So don't ever stop experiencing joy. Don't ever stop experiencing love. Don't stop experiencing hope, because all those things, even though it's a small motherfucking crawl, we're gonna get there eventually. But also we gotta work on the system from the inside and out, because we have things going on within ourselves that is through no fault of our own, but still need to be handled. Okay, I love you guys so much. I hope you have a very blessed, beautiful, lovely night. Please smile, laugh. I mean, I be watching damn, whatchamacallit, what's it called? Y'all, what's it called? Big Bang Theory, and I be laughing that shit out of that. Because, I mean, I need something mindless, because I watch so many documentaries, I read so much, I deal with so much. So, my heart is heavy, but it's always been like that. I've always read these books. I've read these books as a teen. I've read these books forever. So I just literally have a heavy heart. And when I felt discriminated against my own people, I think back to these books that talk about the things that made that possible, how that happened. So I don't hold it against people, because I know where it stemmed from. But if you don't know where it stems from, it can definitely play on your psyche. And at times it did, I'm not gonna lie, but I know better, because I know how this all started. So I just want to let y'all know, you the VIPs, I love each and every one of you, even you back there. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for spending your minutes with me. I hope I don't have to record it again. Peace out.
So the police fucking figured out that it's the phone is calling, so they don't answer it no more.
How do they know the difference between if it's calling 911 for real?
That shit off, but I'm stuck.
And so, oh, because of right now, because it's not, it's frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen. Look, it's stuck on Irish voicemail, and the timer keeps counting. 27 minutes and counting.
Why does it let you leave that long of a message?
How long ago it happened?
So your screen didn't go black first, though. It just.
Now it's black. I did a triple finger jab at the screen, and it went black.
Oh, you should have probably left it on so that it could die faster.
It's black, but listen, just a second.
No, that's how mine was. It was playing music.
Still trying.
That's your Surrey?
Yeah.
Ew.
I don't like the original. I always change this because the voice is grating on my ears.
You better be careful tapping all that shit.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, let me know what happens.
Alright.
Alright, love you.
Let me see.
Bye.
Bye.
So my dad's phone just sent me an SOS, okay, as I was finishing up the video, and I freaked the fuck out. My phone had did that a few days back when all of a sudden the screen had went black, and then I was trying to turn it on. You know, on the sides you try to turn it on, and I didn't know if you hold it down for longer than 5 minutes or seconds, or you squeeze it 5 times, that it will send out an automatic SOS. So, no, so when I was doing it, I was listening to music, like it went black. I couldn't change the songs, I couldn't do anything, I had no control over it. But then all of a sudden over my song came a 911 operator saying, 911, what's your emergency? And I had no idea that that's what happened, but it let me know that something was happening, because it let off like an emergency alert, or I'm sorry guys, a siren sound after I squeezed it that many times. So yeah, but that scared me. It sent 2 alerts to my phone, and it sent where he's at, emergency SOS, and then my dad's name has made an emergency call from this approximate location. You're receiving this messages because TC has listed you as an emergency contact. And then it did it twice so that I could see where he was at, which it showed me that he was clearly at home when I looked at the pin. So y'all, that shit was scary though. My heart was dropping. I was thinking all these things. I tried to call him back immediately, and it went straight to voicemail, and then I found out his phone was malfunctioning. But yeah, all right you guys, I just want to end this video, but I just want to say I just almost lost it after I was doing this video about my dad, and then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild. It's wild.